There's a fascinating story here at this cottage near the top of McGregor Mountain. It took place in the summer of 1885, 9 miles north of Saratoga Springs in upstate New York. Ulysses S. Grant was the Civil War commanding general of the U.S. Army. He was the 18th President of the United States. But at this cottage, where he spent the final 6 weeks of his life, he was no longer a general, no longer a president. He was just a man trying to take care of his family. In May of 1884, Grant discovered that the investment firm, which contained most of his net worth, had entirely collapsed, leaving him nearly penniless. 2 months later, he was diagnosed with terminal throat cancer. Fearing for the well-being of his wife Julia and his children when he died, Grant agreed to write his memoirs in order to provide his family with financial security. His doctor in New York City believed that the fresh, clean, unpolluted air might prolong his life enough to complete his memoirs. He arrived at the cottage on June 16, 1885, and finished the book 4 days before he died on July 23rd. During Grant's final 6 weeks of life here, the Hotel Balmoral sat perched atop the hill adjacent to the cottage, with as many as 7 trains a day traveling to and from the mountaintop. The Balmoral accommodated Grant's friends and visitors, and the reporters who kept a constant vigil on him. It also hosted those who flocked to the site for the purpose of healing air and recreation, the ordinary people of the times that are left unmentioned in the pages of history. From the porch, Grant regularly waved to hotel guests and those who came seeking a glimpse of the famous American hero. Grant's entire life reflects a dance with conflicting and complex facets of the American story. He was born into a family of staunch abolitionists, yet the family of his beloved wife Julia were slaveholders. While 2 of his pallbearers were Union generals, the other 2 had fought for the Confederacy. Visitors to the mountaintop included beloved icons like his friend Mark Twain, and advocates for change like Susan B. Anthony. Like Grant himself, Mount McGregor's rich story includes a panorama of people from different backgrounds through time. After the adjacent Hotel Balmoral burned in 1897, the site transitioned through many uses, from a tuberculosis sanatorium to the New York State Veterans Rest Camp, to a special needs school, to a state correctional facility. The prison closed in 2014. Although the razor-topped fencing and abandoned buildings remained, there's an opportunity now to reconnect these pieces of history and share the remarkable story of the Grant Cottage, the Hotel Balmoral, and Mount McGregor. Negotiations are underway for the state-owned but privately run Grant Cottage to acquire the 5-acre prison softball field. April 27, 2022, marks the 200th birthday of Ulysses S. Grant. It's a time to look both forwards and backwards. The historic time capsule here is immersive. It's experiential. Today's visitors stand on the same porch where General Grant diligently worked on his memoirs. 3 days before his death, General Grant, unable to speak, passed a note to his doctor requesting to be carried to the Eastern Outlook. Acquisition of this field could provide the chance for visitors to overlook more of the same breathtaking valley that Grant viewed for the last time before his death, and share the same vantage point that Hotel Balmoral guests enjoyed. Good site designers start with designing relationships, not objects. There are many rich relationships to be developed here. There are opportunities to emphasize the mountain qualities that drew Grant and the hotel guests here in the first place, and to make the connections with historic downtown Saratoga Springs and the Adirondacks through a network of bike and trail connections. There are opportunities to immerse people in the time and the story, drawing from the historic train platforms and rustic gazebos of the day. The possibilities only have to be explored, bringing different backgrounds to the table. Design is all about imagining something that doesn't exist and making it real.